Boy, are we going to have fun today, boys and girls. This is Thunder, your favorite storyteller and wisdom keeper and sometimes shaman, I suppose. We'll talk about that later. Today I want to do a pictorial of the Southwest, and basically I'm going to include a lot of things, and I'm just going to jump around. Going to go all over the place. And what is the purpose of this video? Well, the purpose of this video is to expose you to my roots, because you come on this channel and here's this guy talking and he calls himself Wakia or Thunder with the Red Road channel, and you're kind of wondering, well, I like this, I like what he's doing here with this indigenous culture and pictorial and historical thing. But who is this guy, and what is he all about, and what are his roots, and just a little bit more about myself. So I'm not really beating my drum here, because I'm going to make this a two-prong approach to just enjoying the Southwest, the area that I grew up in and tracked around as a kid and was exposed to, but also you're going to get a flavor of indigenous cultures and landscapes and all kinds of good stuff. So that's it. Let's start off here. Let's just jump right in, and I'm just going to talk off the top of my head. Tell you a story. Here is a picture of a Hopi man with looks like a turquoise necklace and earrings. Well, turquoise was really big in Arizona, and it was everywhere, and you could get it rather at a good price back when I was growing up, and my mom, in fact, did that. Bought squash blossom necklaces from the Hopi. We stopped often out in the desert at Hopi dwellings and Navajo dwellings. This is Navajo. But I just thought I would just jump right in with this picture just to give you a flavor of the Southwest here. There is no rhyme or reason to this. What does this have to do with the Southwest? Well, this is Phoenix, Arizona, back when I grew up as a kid. And actually this train here was one that I rode on. Took a train, if memory serves me correct, to Tucson, Arizona from here. This looks like it's in the 1950s. See, now I told you I was going to jump around here, and that's exactly what I'm doing. This is a yei, okay, a yei. And this is all in the Southwest, New Mexico, Arizona, all the places that I roamed around, grew up in, visited, that type of thing, and the exposure that I had on all kinds of levels, spiritual, mental, physical, tracking the land with my dog Misty and my buddies, and all that good stuff. But this is, so this is just giving you a general flavor of what I was exposed to. And, you know, coupled with modern artists of today and that type thing. So here is a yei. What is a yei? Well, a yei is kind of like a kachina. And what is a kachina? Well, a kachina is a spirit being. And this is prevalent in the Hopi culture, the kachina, and also the Navajo culture. They had their kachinas, but they called them yeis. Yeii, I think is the way you pronounce it. This is a great, great painting. Love this painting. Seems to indicate Monument Valley in the background. This is a painting of an indigenous person playing a drum. Well, why did I put the drum playing indigenous person in here? Because I'm a drummer. And I have lots of these kinds of drums, which is called a frame drum, and is played with a mallet and in a trance-like rhythm, maybe 60 beats a minute or 70 or somewhere around there. And this is a good communication device to get directly to Great Spirit. Wakantanka, Tunkashila, or if you're an Apache, it would be Usan or Yusan. It would be the Great Spirit. So I like this photo. I thought I'd throw that one in. Here's another photo taken by the famous photographer Edward Curtis, who roamed the Southwest, and his whole purpose of that time period anyway, had his gallery and everything in the Southwest, was to actually capture photos of real native people back then. And he did an excellent job. So this is kind of a cool photo of an Apache. No name with this, just a photo. Here is a picture of where I grew up. This looks like Camelback Mountain from a certain angle there, and I do believe it is. Yes, it is. This is called the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was taken to Phoenix at a very, very young age. I arrived in Phoenix and Scottsdale in that area when I was 6 months old. So basically, it was like being born there. I was raised there. My parents were from the East, and they had to come west for my sister's health reasons. So we ended up here, and I couldn't be happier. So this is where I was raised from the tender age of 6 months old. All right. The Valley of the Sun, and I hiked all over this valley as a kid. I did a lot of tracking. I climbed to the very peak of this mountain that you're looking at right now, Camelback Mountain, as well as most of the other mountains in this area. Went to roam around in the Superstition Mountains near there, although I didn't venture too far into there, and I'll tell you why later. Also, I hiked the Apache Trail, the Southwest Mountains, the Pavico Mountains, everything. I was all over the place. This is kind of featured in my book Emergence. It's a fact-based fiction about a lot of the parts of my life. This is a rendering or a painting by Logan Maxwell, one of my favorite artists, who depicts the Navajo and the Hopi and the native people of the Southwest. Love this painting, love the way he portrays the clouds, just almost surrealistic. But he really does capture the spirit of the Southwest peoples and the Hopi and Navajo people. Great artist. This is the healing hand. This is the hand that you will find a lot around the Hopi areas. And this has a migratory pattern in it. This represents a migratory pattern of the Anasazi and the Hopi people. Love this. Have a small one that I wear around my neck sometimes. The healing hand. This is a painting of a shamanistic individual, which I really love. Actually, the original, one of the other names of this channel is the Desert Shaman, but it's the Red Road now, which encompasses a lot of things. But shamanism and medicine men and spirituality were all a part of the Southwest, a deep, deep part of the Southwest. And the spirits inhabited the land, so I picked up on that a lot when I was a kid, roaming from one end of Arizona to the other, and driving out in old pickups into the middle of the desert, and just all over the place. Like I say, from one end to the other. Here is a picture of Phoenix, where I grew up. And also, I might say, part of it was Phoenix and part of it was Scottsdale, Arizona, which is the most western town, or at least it was when I was living there. It was more or less like just a little old western town. This is Phoenix, though. It was a little more far advanced. Looks like the same area, 1950s, that, you know, was in my era there when I was growing up. Let's see. I don't want to know. I don't know if I want to reveal my age at this point, but let's say I've been around the block a few times. What is this? This is an old dirt road out probably near Paradise Valley. This is on the other side of Camelback Mountain here. 1950s circa, and you could see the praying monk here on the backside of Camelback Mountain. This was called the praying monk because it was a piece of rock that was jutting out, and this was a good area to go out and shoot in, do a little target practice, kind of off the beaten path. This is Kokopelli. This is Kokopelli, the famous shamanistic flute player, spirit with the hump on his back, which indicates seeds, and the planting of seeds. And this guy was kind of a risque character who liked to lure maidens off into the backcountry, or anywhere, and plant his seed. It has a real deep spiritual meaning. Actually, this is Origins, Anasazi Origins, painted on looks like a rock cave here. A cave. Well, wouldn't cave be rocks, Thunder? Yes, they would. Here's a shot in New Mexico, in the New Mexico area. These are all these photos are from data banks, okay, that I have saved stuff in. Some of it is online, some of it is private. Now, if you don't think the Earth is alive, look at this. What does that look like? Well, it looks like a giant beetle to me. However, it isn't. It's a rock formation. Although, how do we know that it isn't a giant petrified beetle? Well, could be. You never know. You know, you had the petrified forest. That's the beauty about Arizona. So you got all these things going on there. You got the petrified forest. You got Grand Canyon, you got Meteor Crater, you got the Painted Desert, and then just east of that in New Mexico, you got Chaco Canyon, you got all the heavy duty, to me anyway, in my opinion, coming from a spiritual viewpoint, heavy duty spiritual area there, all around there, ancient spirits and vibes. This is a Hopi man. Another Edward Curtis. Could be Hopi. Yeah, I think he is. I try to judge this stuff by attire. Incidentally, I'm wearing my speaking of attire, I'm wearing my Navajo Bailey tracking hat. Looks like it's got a little problem here with the conchos. There we go. The Hat Man. This is a hat that I have been wearing since I was in the 50s. Okay, not this particular hat, but ones like it. And so this is basically what they call the tracker's hat. You'll see this in a lot of photos as well. Here is a turtle, or a painting of a turtle, which was, I thought, appropriate since we live on Turtle Island. That's what America was called before the white man came, the white eyes, the European man. This was called Turtle Island. Beautiful painting. It looks southwest, and indeed is. This is just a picture of some rock formations, you know, tracking around in the desert. This is kind of the thing you would see or climb up on or go over or whatever. And you got the saguaro cactus here, so you could see definitely that's Arizona. Here's a picture of a place called Slide Rock. Okay, this is in Oak Creek Canyon in Arizona. And it's a rock formation that was through the, you know, eons or decades or whatever, water has been coming down here and it formed a gully, and it's so slippery, it's unbelievable. And what we did when we were kids is just put on a pair of cutoffs and get up here and slide down this rock. Great place, nice place to cool off. Hell, when I was a kid, I was in the water every chance I got. Why? Well, I don't know. It was the desert and seemed appropriate at the time. This Slide Rock, incidentally, was filmed in a Western movie called The Last Wagon. If you've ever seen that movie, it's just a great movie, and it's got Richard Widmark in it. And actually, a friend of my family's was a stunt double for Richard Widmark in the movie The Last Wagon. So if you ever want to see parts of Arizona and Slide Rock and all that stuff, that's a good movie, because it was all filmed around there. And in the scene in the movie, they pictured this as like a kid falling down in here, and it was really dramatic. And but at this end, they didn't show that it came out into kind of like a nice shallow pool. They pictured it as a giant waterfall. So anyway, that's what they do in the movies. This is in Sedona, around the Sedona area. You could see by the rock formations and the redness of the rocks, which any good tracker knows. The redness of the rocks, the reason it's red is because there's radon gas in there. This photo is, again, now, see, this is kind of funny, all right? I just found this photo one day online, and that's not my family, no. But it could very well be, in the sense of that this is taken in the 50s, and this is behind Camelback Mountain. I was going to say Squaw Peak. There was another mountain there, too, that it was called Squaw Peak. Okay, so the reason I brought this up, I mean, knowing about me, okay, so part of this slide presentation is to know more about me and the Red Road channel, really. That's really what what this is all about is B, the Red Road Channel, why it's called the Red Road Channel, in line with indigenous Lakota teachings, that type thing. But anyway, got to get all this in there now. So, okay, so this dog right here looks exactly like my dog that I tracked with all over Arizona. And her name was Misty. And she was a blue merle collie, that sometimes was mistaken for a wolf. People were actually afraid of her. I don't think she had as much white around here as this picture. This could have been very well my mom and dad. And this could have been my sisters. And here we have a horse that is a white horse, which was just exactly like my horse Cotton that I rode around in the desert, which was actually my sister's horse. But anyway, just a little flash there so you might know more about my background and what I did in younger years. Here's Scottsdale, Arizona sign. Horses have the right of way, and they did. And this was the most western town. If you go here now, this is nothing but modern crap. Okay, it's completely overrun. But when I first went there, what, in the 50s? How far away was that from the Old West? Well, not very. And there was a lot of hijinks and partying, and it was a real old-fashioned western town. Horses, and I'll show you a little bit more about it later. But now Scottsdale is all upscale. You got Paradise Valley, and you got the Hilton Hotel, and many different things that don't even look like this town even existed. Here's something I thought was nice in Southwest, was a sculpture. I thought this was an actual woman when I first saw the picture. Beautiful sculpture of, looks like a Navajo woman, or maybe not Navajo. She could be any number of people in that area, tribes for sure. Apache and anything, Navajo, Hopi. Although she looks more Navajo-ish, and I believe she's holding a baby. I don't know. Is that a baby? Could be. Could be. I love this. I found this. And this is the style of the architecture in Santa Fe. It's all adobe. Here's a picture I like of, looks like it could be, oh wow, either Lakota, or she could actually be Apache too, with this dress. Beautiful young woman. Got to get the goddess energy in this slideshow here. Love the goddess energy. Love that goddess energy. Okay, here we have it. This is the Lulu Bell Saloon, and I frequented this place many times with my parents because it was a restaurant as well, and it was old style. It was old style. It was the old ornate bar and the Velcro, or not Velcro, what's that stuff, velour, or, the word slips me right now, that fuzzy stuff that looks wallpaper type stuff with designs on it, and a guy playing piano, a rinky-tink piano, by ear, could play any tune known to mankind, Old West tune, lots of beer, and I think they served grilled Reubens, was one of their great meals that they had in there. And this again looks like right around that era. Here's a shot of, what do they call this rock? It's Prophecy? No, it's not Prophecy Rock. History Rock, or say, the name slips me right now. But this is in the Hopi area. And this has all kinds of indications of wuya. What's a wuya? Well, a wuya is a star brother, or it could be a medicine man. I love the term wuya. Wuya. W-U-Y-A. Wuya. When you traverse around the different areas of Arizona, you find out, from a spiritual point of view, a deep connection with the Star Brothers, and a deep connection with alien intelligence, or Middle Earth people, or any number of assorted and sundry spirits and devices and history and connection with and in alignment with and all that good stuff. The Desert Spirits. I did an album once called Desert Spirits, Native American flute album. This is a picture of a Hopi man sitting in his adobe house, window, whatever. And this gentleman, I do believe, name slips me right now, was an elder, prophet, shaman type person. And you're going to wonder sometimes why they had bangs, okay? Because a lot of Hopi people had bangs. They didn't just have their hair go over to the side, they had bangs. And the reason for that is because they cut their hair so that they could see real well as they looked for the Pahana, the great white brother who was to return. And so that's an interesting part of Hopi mythology or beliefs. The great white brother who would return. But there's a whole nother story about it, the indications of it being white and whether that meant spiritual. And I could go on and on for a whole long time about the spirituality surrounding the Hopi people, who I am intricately connected to, as well as the rest. But I have a special place in my heart for these people. Here's a place out in Pinnacle Peak Restaurant, out by Pinnacle Peak, which was kind of northwest of Phoenix, out in the desert. And guess what? Every old Western movie that you ever saw filmed with Randolph Scott, and just a host of characters, people like Alan Ladd, and all these different kind of movies, and we're talking probably hundreds of movies, was filmed out at Pinnacle Peak, which was a familiar landmark. There was nothing out there except a little, this place, Pinnacle Peak Steakhouse. When you went in here to the steakhouse, if you went in with a tie, they cut it off. And a lot of people went in there just to have their ties hanging up in the Pinnacle Peak Steakhouse, because they would cut the tie off and then hang it up. And there were ties all over this place, wall-to-wall ties. And it was a kind of a funny thing, you're a dude from the East if you're wearing a tie, and you're going to get it cut off if you come in here. And a lot of people went in there and didn't know about that. And they had one of their best ties on or whatever, and next thing you know, snip, there it goes. But it was all taken in good humor, I guess, I hope. But this was one of the places where most of the Western films were filmed, and that in, I think it was Kudia City, which my dad took me out to a lot of times. Kudia City was another place back then where they filmed all the Westerns. My dad was quite the character. He was kind of a wild kind of guy, you know. He carried a Colt 45 underneath the front seat of his car and was totally cowboyed out and worked in all kinds of little towns all over Arizona, Ajo, Globe, Flagstaff, Prescott. Half the time he dragged us kids along. One time he went out, I'm going to tell you a little story about my dad when I was real young, in diapers maybe. He was pretty wild, and him and my mom are kind of like to have parties. And my dad did kind of like linger with the grape, you might say. He ended up one day going out to Kudia City in an old Cadillac. I'm telling you, he liked old Cadillacs, and it wasn't old. It was kind of new for back then. He went out there one day and found a burro wandering around out in Kudia City that they used on the movie sets. And next thing you know, he was back home at a trailer park that we lived in. That was when times were kind of rough. And lo and behold, in the back of the Cadillac was the donkey. And, that's a walk down memory lane. Here's a great shot of, this to me reminds me of the hoop dancers, the hoop dancers up by the Grand Canyon that I used to see as a kid when I was like about 6 to 10 years old. And I just thought this was a great shot. This looks definitely southwest, wouldn't you say? I might use this as the thumbnail, actually, for this video. Here's Papago Mountains. Papago, named after the Papago Indians. This was a short walk from my house when I was growing up. This is an area I tracked around a lot. You could see some people up there. Although these got much higher. This is just a low part of the mountain. This mountain got pretty high, and caves, a lot of caves, and we tracked a lot of animals around then, coyotes, and there were bobcats and snakes all over the place, and tarantulas and scorpions and just the whole ball of wax. But when you're a kid and you get out there and you're tracking around and you become a tracker, you naturally become a natural-born tracker, can identify plants, animals, footprints, sidewinder tracks, the whole thing. That was my life. That was my life as a kid. Here's another view of that slide rock area. Much better view, actually, of that, and the fun and exhilaration. When you went down this thing, you went down, Hail Ben for election. This is a shot of Bill Johnson's Big Apple. It was always like, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, can we go to Bill Johnson's Big Apple? And this place was another wood structure, saloon type. You could see the writing on there. This place was the primo place to eat. Barbecue, ribs, pork sandwiches, hamburgers, steaks, the whole thing. The Big Apple. You wanted to go to the Big Apple if you lived in Phoenix or anywhere around there. And when you went in, it was sawdust on the floor. Sawdust on the floor and tables around and a long bar, ornate bar, and yeah, that was the place to go. Here's a shot that I like of a typical Navajo person. Now, that could either be a man or a woman, because a lot of women dress the same way. Older, elderly, you know, kind of like me, you know. Nice hat, a version of the Navajo Bailey, and could have very well meant to have been a Navajo Bailey portrayal. Well, here's kind of a shot I'd throw in there, and I'll tell you why. The cowboy in the West. Now, if you were to label me in any way, you would call me a cowboy Indian or an Indian cowboy, since I have that blood in both bloods and running in my vein, and both influence. See, so when you lived in the Southwest, when you lived in Arizona, it was not just the native culture that influenced you, but it was the Western culture just in general. Okay, so short explanation on why I am the way I am, and who I am. Little bit of combo there, both influences. Here's another one I like. I'm a historian on the Old West, by the way. I could do all kinds of videos on John Wesley Harding and Doc Holliday and the Apache Kid, which I've already done. And so this is me. This is me, but it isn't me. It's just part of me. Here's a Gila monster. What's a Gila monster? It's something you don't want to bite you, that you will find in the deserts of Arizona. They roam around, and they will pop up at any given moment and just scare the bejesus out of you. And you don't want to get bit by it, because if you do, you're going to die probably. Or have a real bad experience. Beautiful animal, though, lizard, reptilian, yeah. And they come in all kinds of shapes and flavors and colors. More goddess energy. Gotta have it. Gotta have that goddess energy. Love it. Love the necklace, the attire, everything in this picture. Beautiful, beautiful painting. I think I'm in love, maybe. Well, wouldn't be the first time, would it? You fall in and you fall out. You know, that's the... Or you have a fallout. One of the two. Here's a rendering or a picture that I did. Somebody commented one time that the only picture of Crazy Horse was a sketch, and that's true. And this is the original sketch that I colorized. By family, passed down by family. Okay, now we're not going to say it's 100% accurate, but there is the scar on the cheek from where he got shot when he was with Black Buffalo Woman. And this is the type of attire that he would wear. So I just took what they drew and I colorized it, made a color. If you want to take a picture of this or a screenshot, it's rare. Here's another picture I did of me. And that is actually taken from a photo of me. That's Young Thunder there. That's Young Thunder. I use this illustration in my book Emergence, I do believe. Got my leather jacket and everything on there, Navajo Bailey hat. Here's a shot of Bobcat. Yeah, and they were out there too. I failed to mention that, or did I? Mountain lions as well, sitting on what looks like a barrel cactus. Hey, buddy, love you. Here's a great shot of Monument Valley. I think this is Monument Valley. But this is just an example of the sunsets and the feel, the southwest feel, at southwest feel. You're not going to get anywhere else. Here's more. Can't tell you how many times we had thunderstorms in Phoenix. I'll tell you, the thunderstorms could be so bad in Phoenix that it would make you get religion. And in fact, that's exactly what happened to my mom, unfortunately. That's a whole other story, though. We had thunderstorms there that ripped all the shingles off the roof. We lived in a little red brick house near a canal and kind of in this little, back country neighborhood, back desert neighborhood, whatever. Little brick house, 2-room house, and had some trees around, and dogs and turkeys and parakeets and all kinds of animals. And you had to water the lawn by a sluice ditch, a little canal, a little ditch coming from the canal nearby. I'm just having flashbacks here. One of the flashbacks I had is I was out in the backyard one day on my swing set, and it was just like this kind of weather. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to climb. They had a ladder that climbed up to the top. Little ladder, and I'm climbing up the top of the ladder. And I'm just shaking my fist. I'm being a smart ass and saying, I'm not afraid of you, you thunder, you big bad thunder. All of a sudden, a clap of lightning came down, and I don't even know how damn close it was, but it knocked me off the top of the ladder, and next thing you know, I was laying on my back, looking up going, what happened? Well, thunderstruck. Thunder dreamer. That's what happened. Never was quite the same after that. Camelback Mountain. So you see why it's called Camelback. You have the camel's head here in the hump. And another hump. Okay. This was a little bit later on as buildings were starting to encroach. You know, this was kind of in the era that I was there. There wasn't a lot of build up all the way up here on these mountains with the rich people staking out there. This was pretty pristine. And the praying monk is over on this side. You can't see it in this picture. Here's a map of Arizona. Lake Powell up here by the Grand Canyon. You got the Monument Valley over here, Flagstaff, Kingman. All these places I'm very familiar with. Sedona, Lake Havasu down here, Yuma Prison, Phoenix, Scottsdale. So you could see I lived in Phoenix, but then I kind of shifted this way with my family to Scottsdale. Then you have the White Mountains here, and you have Tucson and Apache. This is all Apache territory. Payson. Pretty neat little, a lot more towns, of course. This doesn't really show it all. A lot more towns. Villages. Interesting nooks and crannies. Here's a painting I did of the Taos Taos, T-A-O-S, Taos Pueblo. Taken from an actual photo. This is a painting I did. Just has a nice feel to it. This is another rock petroglyph of a alien. If that's a person, then I gotta have a long talk with you. There were many depictions of star brothers all over the rocks, and so not something that was unfamiliar to tribal people, totally integrated into their acceptance of origins of humanity and themselves in general. Here's a kachina. Now we saw what was it? See, I'm losing my mind here. Never mind, I'll think of it in a minute. But what we have here is a kachina with the corn, the blue corn and the red corn and the yei. That's what I was trying to remember before. The yei is the same thing as the kachina. Yei Hopi, yei Navajo, kachina Hopi. I'll get it. Here's a picture that's on one of the pictures I used for the cover of my book, Emergence. That's supposedly me there when I was younger. And doing my mystical chipping around in the desert and things of that nature. So that's on my book, Emergence, although there's several covers. There's one for a larger copy of Emergence and one for a smaller copy. Spirit of Crazy Horse. Let me jump right in here and talk a little bit about me. See, this is another extension of me. So if you've been looking at all the pictures here, this is an extension of me. This is what has derived from me, one of the things, as a writer and forming the Red Road Prayer Circle based on the spirits of the four directions in the Red Road, which anybody can email me and join. Why you would not want to email me and join this group of people is if you like the Southwest and you like what I've been talking about and you like Native American and indigenous spiritual culture, and if you like the spirits of the land, go to spiritofcrazyhorse.com and contact. There's an email link there. All right. My books are there. And this is a channel that is entirely funded by just people that want to give a donation. I'm going to continue on here, so if you left early in the slideshow, you're going to miss out. And I hope you didn't leave, because this is important too, to propagate exactly what you're loving here or not loving or whatever. Spiritofcrazyhorse.com, donate button. And when you go to the donate button, it'll take you to a PayPal thing. You don't have to pay through PayPal. You could pay through credit cards. And there's a little box on there you could check and make it a monthly thing, or like $5 a month or whatever. But it's all appreciated, because I just got a bill for software that I can't pay. So much help would be, that was like, well, I can pay it, but hell, it's going to come out of my food money. So 24 bucks. If somebody wants to chip in right now and help me take care of that, that would be awesome. Anyway, let's get on with the show. We have the, ooh, I love this. This is just Hanwi the moon. And love the feminine aspect of this. Just a great, great photo, painting, illustration. Yeah. The moon. The goddess energy. Grandmother. Unsi Maka, Mother Earth. Feminine. Hanwi. The moon. Feminine. Also feminine. This is an Apache girl. Edward Curtis again. Edward Curtis. Great photographer. Another picture of the Pahana, looking for the Pahana type haircut. Hopi man. Edward Curtis. Beautiful. Another picture of Camelback Mountain before all those houses. Remember all the houses in there? Now they're gone. I mean, they hadn't arrived. Because here it is. Just indelibly impressed upon my mind. Let's throw in, from the Lakota people, let's throw in Lame Deer, Seeker of Visions. One of the last medicine holy men, Wakasa Wakan. Love his glasses. Gotta love it. Any port in a storm, brother. This man was off the charts on the spiritual level. Love him. Love you, Lame Deer. Live in my heart forever. Got a great book out. There's a book about him. Lame Deer, Seeker of Visions. I highly recommend it. Pipe carrier. Sacred pipe carrier. Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona. Don't forget whatever. What is that song? Route 66. Flagstaff, the old depot there, my favorite town. This is my favorite town, probably in Arizona up north. San Francisco Peaks. The Kachinas live there. The Hopi res is up there. The Navajo res is up there. And so are the spirits in full force. You can't get stronger than San Francisco Peaks and the mesas, the Hopi mesas out there. Or where they live anyway. The Hopi on the mesas. And near the mesas is this area, Monument Valley. This area has got to be the most spiritual area on earth, one around there, one of them. Here's a horned toad. Came across a lot of those as a kid and had pets. Another depiction of the feel of that area. Apache in full garb. Nice painting. Love this one. That is it. The warrior mode. This is an Apache girl, Edward Curtis. Beautiful picture, goddess energy. Oak Creek Canyon. Oak Creek Canyon. This is a real trip today, isn't it, this video? I hope you're liking it, because you're seeing it through the eyes that I saw through as a kid. And still now, I make frequent journeys there. I am still in the Southwest, although not really where my heart is, but it's nature. Oak Creek Canyon. That's where the Slide Rock is. That's where a lot of the spiritual community is now, and they have seminars there. Although I think the most spiritual part is Flagstaff, but And I used to go to Sedona when there was nothing there. When I was 12 years old, 10 years old. Oh, you had a curio shop and a gas station and a little motel. That was it. Pretty much. Here's a Logan Maxwell painting. Again, another one, which I showed earlier of the Hopi, not the Hopi, the Navajo. The Navajo. Just thought this was a nice picture of a council. And actually the Red Road Prayer Circle, which I showed earlier, was formed out of the Campfire Council, which is just a group of people that are tribal. And group of people that like this kind of thing and like the spirituality and like one another. When you join the circle, you get to know people. And let me impress upon you, there's no charge, okay, here to join this person. Nothing is charged on this channel except by no donation. That's the point I want to drive home here. This prayer circle, which probably a lot of people would try to charge you for, come on into the circle here, there's benefits, and it's only, this is free, baby. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Sign up, or just send me an email, say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and like your channel, and I'm in line with this type of thinking and spirituality, and I'd like to be included. And then you will get a newsletter after that. The La Posada Hotel in Winslow, Arizona, right by the main line of the BNSF Railway. I stayed at this hotel, and I highly recommend it as one of the premier historical, awesome, if you love trains, double awesome, if you love good food, triple awesome, and the ambiance. This is not an advertisement here, although maybe I ought to check into that. The La Posada Hotel in Winslow, Arizona. Got some dancing walking yon here from the thunder beings and the clouds up above. And a thing called love. Yeah. I think this is a good place. I will end this video. Wow, how did that happen? I didn't plan that one. Thunder beings. And here I am, your friendly storyteller, Thunder. Not so young anymore, but still walking the red road. Thanks for watching this video. Remember that little spot in the middle of there about spiritofcrazyhorse.com, and give the gift that keeps on giving. And you know why they say that? Because when you give a gift, it gives back to you. Love all you people out there. Hang in there. Spread the word if you're into this kind of thing and you know other people are. Like the video. And subscribe. Get other people to subscribe. Let's build this baby up. If you like this kind of thing, this is me. All right, I'm going to leave it there. So I'll say Wopila, which means thank you, and adios. Might as well include the whole cultures here, And aho.